Well, I've been a drug addict since I was a teenager, and I have moved around a lot. So I came from England. I was a rave DJ back then, and lots of drugs in that scene. So I got hooked pretty early on, and really found here's the problem. Like how it got my hooks in me is I found my identity in that. Had a couple of failed marriages. I had a couple of children, and just drugs took everything from me. It took my whole life. I missed the whole first portion of my kids' lives because I was too busy getting high and seeking after that. I really came to this place where I had nothing left. I wasn't seeing my kids. I got all ill will towards my friends and from my friends, and I was really just ready to kill myself. And I had a plan. I was getting ready to do it. I took meth one last time to give myself the courage to do it. Then I heard this voice that said, I think someone had said it to me. It was more like a memory. It was, you have to die to yourself and live for Christ. And so I'm a very, very simple person. I just said, okay, well, I'm about to kill myself anyway, and so I'll just try this. I told Jesus, you have 2 weeks. I'm going to follow you for 2 weeks. Never opened the Bible before, never really done much exploring in that area, and so I didn't know how to follow Jesus, but I knew that I was a meth head, and so I knew that everything that I wanted to do would lead me straight back to taking drugs. So very humbly before the Lord, it was really easy to be humble. I just was an empty shell of a person, so no pride left. I just started very simply doing the opposite of what I wanted to do, and giving it to Jesus and say, Jesus, I don't know you yet. I'm gonna learn you, but right now I know that what I want is not you. And so took my time. Everything that I wanted to do, did the opposite. So the first thing I did is I moved off my friend's couch and onto the streets. I sold everything except a spare pair of clothes. So I had a gaming laptop, anything that was a distraction, like things that I loved, I was holding on to. I sold all of that, and I started learning how to be homeless. And I ended up at RJ's down the road. It's a different homeless shelter. So I didn't even come to Springs Rescue Mission first. I was in line one night waiting to get in, and I heard Jesus again. He said, give my whole pack of cigarettes to this gentleman that was coming down the line asking for cigarettes. I remember it, like, you can't afford to smoke anymore, give your cigarettes to that man. That's exactly what I heard. And I gave him my cigarettes, and he was very thankful. Anyway, I go into the shelter, sleep there. That man woke me up the next morning and brought me to Springs Rescue Mission, and showed me how to get breakfast, and showed me how to get a meeting with one of the case managers. That case manager walked me, listened to my story, walked me straight over to the New Life program, and I applied for that. And there was a waiting period back then, so they actually put me on the couch of a sober home on lockdown, because I was approaching the maximum amount of sobriety I'd ever had on my own before, which was about 3 weeks. And so I was on lockdown until I got into the program. And to tell you the truth, I didn't want to go into the program at all, but I was still within the 2 weeks where I was doing the opposite of what I wanted to do. So I went into the program despite what I wanted to do. And I found myself with a bed and food and people that cared about me, and people that gave me, that spoke value into my life, counseling. And one thing, I noticed that the Lord put me in a position where I could get to know Him. So the 2 weeks came up, and I found that I was safe and secure, and so I decided to give Him the rest. And I started reading the Bible. I read it front to back in my first 90 days here, and as I read, I applied, and I kept doing that, and I kept doing that, and I just laid it all out on the table. And Springs Rescue Mission, the staff at Springs Rescue Mission guided me and taught me how to find my triggers and figure out what was going on in my head so that I could slowly start applying biblical truth to it. I graduated, got married, had 2 babies, and I got a job back here. So now I work here helping people the way I was helped. So I run the whole food services department, the kitchen. I run Mission Catering through my sous chefs. They really are the stars of the show. But I do what I do here because I came through the kitchen in the program, and so I get to sort of now use my insider knowledge and try and do my best to bring people along the path that I went through, because I know the path that I took has led to something really good, and I want that for everyone.